There's going to be times that God gives you a plan, He gives you a purpose. There's something that He wants you to accomplish for Him. But then when something else that's good comes along, you're going to be tempted to settle for good, even though God is trying to send you His best. Haran was good. Canaan was the promise. Everything we receive in the new covenant is received by faith. That means you need to learn what faith is, how faith works, and how to grow in your faith. Jesus said, I came to give you life and life more abundantly. Life is not simply about existing here on earth and waiting for heaven. No, life is about abundance. You and I were created to worship God in spirit and in truth. Worship is much more than an act. Worship is a lifestyle. When Jesus is at the center of your life, your priorities will change, and so will the flow of God's blessing into your life.
From Faith Life Worship Center in Naples, Florida, this is Pastor Heath Jarvis.
We've been waiting for this moment. Now we're standing in your presence, Jesus, gazing into eyes like fire. You're the only one that matters now, and all our fears are swept away as we see you face to face. Surrounded by your love, I found a place of peace. I found a place of praise, wrapped in your embrace, and I don't want to leave. Here in your presence, such a sweet release. I can feel your joy rushing over me, and I don't want to leave. Only you can satisfy us. So we bow. So we bow to give you worship, Jesus. Holy, holy, you're the only one that matters now, and all our fears are swept away as we see you face to face. Everybody say, surrounded by your love, I found a place of peace. I found a place of praise, wrapped in your embrace, and I don't want to leave. 'Cause here in your presence, such a sweet release. I can feel your joy rushing over me, and I don't want to leave. Sing it again, say, surrounded by your love, found a place of peace.
Pastor Heath Jarvis is an award-winning and internationally published songwriter and author. He is pleased to offer today's song to you as a download from our website for only 99 cents. Just go to faithlifeworshipcenter.com, then go to our store to browse our downloadable music. Each song is only 99 cents. While you're there, you can also browse our other products, like downloadable books, downloadable teaching series, and apparel. All of our products help support the cost of this broadcast and the ministry of Faith Life Worship Center in Naples, Florida. Go to faithlifeworshipcenter.com to place your order today. Let's join Pastor Heath's message from Faith Life Worship Center.
Now, many times, the journey to your promise sometimes can be long. And so what God does when you're on your journey to your promise, especially when it's a long journey, God sends you provision on the way to your promise. So I want to look at that concept tonight. We're going to look at somebody who was going on a long journey, but before they got to the end of their journey, God sent them some provision on the way to their promise. We're going to look at the story of Abraham's father. His name was Terah. Genesis chapter 11, we're going to start in verse 31. It says, Terah took his son Abram, Abram was Abraham before his name was changed. Terah took his son Abram, his grandson Lot, son of Haran, and his daughter-in-law Sarai, the wife of his son Abram, and together they set out from Ur of the Chaldeans to go to Canaan. Everyone say to go to Canaan. But when they came to Haran, they settled there. Terah lived 205 years, and he died in Haran. Now let me ask you something. Where are they from? Ur. Ur. And where are they going? They're going to Canaan. So where are they from? And where are they going? So Canaan is the goal. Canaan is the promise. Amen? But the journey to Canaan is a long journey. The distance between Ur and Canaan, I looked it up, it's about 1,350 miles. That's roughly the same as walking from Naples to Chicago, Illinois. That's a long walk. That's a long distance. Canaan is where they're headed, but folks, they're not going to get there overnight. You have a promise, but sometimes there's a process to get you to that promise. It's not always going to happen overnight. It's going to require some patience. It's going to require some perseverance. It's going to require some determination. And because it's such a long journey, it's going to require some significant provision to get you from here to there. How many know if you're walking from Naples to Chicago, that candy bar in your pocket is not going to cover you? Amen? You're going to need some provision. To walk 1,350 miles, and not just walk, but you're walking with a caravan of people. They were moving their entire family. They had all of their people, their servants, all of their animals, all of their possessions, walking with a caravan of people in the hot desert, across rough terrain, 1,350 miles. This journey would have taken months. So you're going to need some provision along the way. Amen? You're going to need places where you can stop and rest along the way. Now, about halfway through their journey, they came to a really nice place to stop and rest. The city was called Haran. Haran is in present-day Turkey. That city is now called Sanlurfa, but it was called Haran back in those days. Ur is in present-day Iraq, and the city of Ur is now called Tel El-Mukhair, and they were headed to Canaan, which is present-day Israel. And it's interesting because they were not traveling in a straight line. Let me show you the map. Now, this is a modern-day map. If you look here on the lower right, that's Ur. Up at the top, that's Haran. And the lower left, that's Canaan. Now, it's interesting that they didn't go west. That would have been, you know, the shortest distance between any 2 points is a straight line. They didn't go west because the land between and Canaan is very inhospitable desert terrain. Now this map, it's a modern map. This is actually the map on how to drive from to Haran to Canaan. But how many know they didn't have highways back then? Right. So what they probably did, the Bible doesn't say this specifically, but they probably followed the Euphrates River. Because the Euphrates River goes through and it comes within about 40 kilometers of Haran. So they probably followed that river to get up there. But Haran was a bustling city. Haran was a center for trade. There's commerce there. There are people there. There's culture there. If you're going to find a place to stop, Haran is a nice place to stop. In fact, Haran is also mentioned in the book of Ezekiel as being a center for trade. Now, something also occurred to me when I was looking at this map, when I was looking at Haran. I would imagine Haran probably has pretty decent weather. Because I looked up the latitude of which is in Iraq. The latitude of is about the same as Jacksonville, Florida. They're about the same latitude. The latitude of Haran is about the same as Virginia Beach, Virginia. So Haran is going to have much milder summers. It's going to be cooler there. They're probably going to have really pleasant spring season, really pleasant fall season, and it's going to have mild winters too, because it's not super far north, but it's kind of right there in the middle. So Haran has nice weather. Haran has a lot to offer. But what's the goal? Canaan. Canaan is the goal. But along the way to Canaan, along the way to their promise, God gave them provision. God gave them Haran. Haran is the provision on the way to their promise. Haran is a beautiful city. Haran is a great respite from the harsh desert that they've been traveling through and the wilderness that they've been traveling through for months. Haran is full of culture, there's business opportunities, there's commerce, there's trade, there's entertainment, there's great weather, everything that you'd want in a city. Only one problem: Haran isn't the goal.
Pastor Heath will conclude his message right after this.
Faith Life Worship Center in Naples, Florida is a Bible-believing, Spirit-filled, non-denominational church.
With dynamic children's and youth ministries.
There's something for everybody here.
If you're looking for a good, solid church
with a contemporary worship experience,
a great family atmosphere,
with lots of fun,
and plenty of great fellowship.
Come and join us.
Faith Life Worship Center.
FaithLifeWorshipCenter.com.
Let's go back to Pastor Heath's message.
Haran isn't the promise. Abraham's dad, Terah, says he set out to go to Canaan. He didn't set out to go to Haran. But when he got to Haran, he settled in Haran. Folks, there are going to be times in your life when you are tempted to settle. Times when you've set a goal for yourself, or even more important, when God sets a goal for you. There's going to be times that God gives you a plan, He gives you a purpose, there's something that He wants you to accomplish for Him, but then when something else that's good comes along, you're going to be tempted to settle for good, even though God is trying to send you His best. Haran was good. Canaan was the promise. Canaan is the goal, not Haran. Haran's nice. Haran's really nice. Here's another thing about Haran. Haran is an established city. In other words, you don't have to build anything. Haran's already built. Haran is move-in ready. But Haran is not yours. It's somebody else's city. God wants to give you what is yours. Terah gathered his family. They set out for Canaan. But it says they stopped in Haran and they settled there. Everyone say settled. See, I love the fact that the Bible uses that particular word, because not only did they make Haran their settlement, that's where they settled, but also they settled for second best. They settled for something that was less than their promise. It was good, but it wasn't God's best. Now, unfortunately for Terah never made it to his promise. Terah decided to settle for Haran, and Haran was where he died. Folks, I don't want to die where I settle. Amen? I want to reach my promise. God has given me vision. He's given me promises. He's given me promises in His Word. I want to reach my promise. I don't want to die at my settlement. Amen? When we were searching for a new church property to move our church to here in Naples, there were several opportunities over the last few months, several opportunities for us to settle. We knew what we wanted. We knew what we were putting our faith out for. But there were other opportunities that came around that were good, but they weren't what we were putting our faith out for. You need to be specific with your faith. Do you hear me? When you are believing God for something, you need to be specific. The Bible says, let your requests be made known unto God. Let your petitions be made known. Faith is specific. I'll give you a story. I've told this story before. I'll give you kind of the abridged version of it. Not long after Caleb was born, we decided that we needed another minivan. We had one minivan, and we had a little four-door car, and the four-door car was not conducive to family travel. So Louise had the minivan, and I had the car, and what we wanted was to get her a new minivan. And so Louise came up to me one day. She says, I know what I want. I'm putting my faith out there for a minivan. I said, okay, but what kind of minivan? She said, well, let me do a little research and I'll get back with you on that. Because faith is specific. Amen? So she said, she did a little research and she came back. She goes, I know what I want. I want a brand new Chevy Venture, Warner Brothers edition, maroon. That's specific. Brand new Chevy Venture, Warner Brothers edition, maroon. I said, okay, I can get on board with that. The only thing I didn't like about that was the brand new part. Because I don't like buying brand new cars. I've never personally owned a brand new car. Louise has never driven anything but brand new cars, but I've never owned a brand new car. I don't like buying brand new because the moment that you drive a brand new car off the lot, it depreciates 25 to 40%. And I just didn't think that was very good financial sense. But that's what she put her faith out for. I want a brand new Chevy Venture, Warner Brothers edition, maroon. Now, a few weeks later, after she had declared what she wanted by faith, and I think we probably sowed a seed for it because that's normally our MO. So we released our faith for it. And there was a hailstorm that came through Columbus, Ohio. And it hit a car dealership on the north side of Columbus, and a really good friend of mine was one of the top managers at that car dealership. And so he came to our church and he said, look, we got a big insurance settlement, and we're marking these cars down in a hail damage sale, and so all sorts of people in our church were buying up cars that were hail damaged. Well, for some reason, we were not in a big hurry to get a car. I don't know why, but we just didn't feel any anxiousness about this. And so we let a month go by, probably a little more than a month. And one day I just felt, well, I need to call him and see if they have any cars left in their hail sale. So I called him and I said, hey, we're interested in buying a car. Do you have any hail damaged cars left? He said, we don't have hardly anything left. What are you looking for? I said, well, we're looking for a minivan. He said, we don't have any minivans. We sold our last minivan yesterday. I don't have any minivans, but we do have some SUVs. And I said, okay, we'll come and we'll look at your SUVs. Did we put our faith out for an SUV? No. But I went and looked anyway. Now, what's really interesting is the SUVs that we ended up looking at, my dad ended up buying one of those, and I now own it. But we weren't there to buy an SUV. We were there to buy a minivan. So we looked at the SUVs, and we didn't see anything that we were interested in. And he got a call from one of the other salesmen. And he picked up the phone, and he goes, "Oh, they did? Oh, I didn't know that. All right, we'll bring it around." And it turned out that there was a couple that had come the night before. They were going to buy the minivan. They were going to come in that morning and sign the papers, and they backed out of the deal. And so he told me, he said, "I thought we had sold this van. It turns out they don't want it. We have one minivan left. They're going to bring it around for you." Guess what it was? It was a brand new Chevy Venture, Warner Brothers edition, and it was maroon. Amen? It was everything that she had put her faith out for, and they couldn't sell that thing in the last month, even though there was all sorts of people that were going there to buy hail-damaged cars. They couldn't buy it because she had it tied up in kingdom law. Amen? Now, the awesome thing about that van was the sticker on it was $33,000, and we bought it for $18,000. Amen? Like I said, I don't like buying new cars because I don't like the depreciation. I'll buy an $18,000 car with a $33,000 sticker.
If you enjoy the ministry of Faith Life Worship Center, we would love for you to connect with us on social media. You can follow Faith Life Worship Center on Facebook or on Instagram by searching Faith Life Worship Center. You can also find Pastor Heath Jarvis on Facebook. Check out our youth group by going to Fly Faith Life Youth on Facebook or Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel by searching Faith Life Worship Center. If you still want to learn more about us, go to our website, faithlifeworshipcenter.com, where you can learn about our church, listen to other messages, find information on events, browse our store, or support our ministry financially. As much as we'd love to connect with you online, we'd love it even more if we could connect with you in person. So visit us at Faith Life Worship Center in Naples, Florida.
And maybe you're tuning in today and you don't know anything about Jesus or Christianity or this God that we love and worship. Maybe you don't know anything about what it means to be in right standing with God, or to know that you're on your way to heaven after you die. So give me just a couple of minutes, and I'm going to give you the gospel in a nutshell. In the beginning, God created the universe, and He created the earth, and He placed mankind here on earth. Man sinned, and that forced God to remove His hand of protection and provision over man. About 4,000 years later, God loved us so much that He sent His Son Jesus to earth to become the ultimate payment for man's sin. Jesus lived a sinless life. He was tempted in every single way that we are, but Jesus never bowed to that temptation. Now, unlike Jesus, all of us are born into a sin nature. We've all sinned and we've all fallen short of the glory of God. And you may say, "Well, I'm a pretty good person. I think if I were to die, God would give me a pass." The truth of the matter is, even your best attempt on your best day can't come close to matching the holiness of God. The Bible says that your righteousness, in and of itself, is like a used menstrual cloth. You can't measure up in and of yourself. But thank God, because of Jesus, you don't have to measure up, because Jesus measured up on your behalf. He took all of the sin of mankind upon Himself, His sinless self, and He died with it. He took every bad, sinful, wicked thing that you've ever done, every sinful thing that you're doing right now, every sin that you will ever commit, and He died with it. Your sin has been eternally paid for. Now, the only thing left for you to do is to receive by faith what Jesus did for you. Now, how do you do this? By believing with your heart and confessing with your mouth that Jesus lived a sinless life, that He took your sin upon Himself and died with it, and on the third day, He rose from the dead, but your sin didn't. So in a moment, I'm going to say a prayer, and I want you to pray this prayer with me. And I want you to pray it out loud. Don't just say it in your heart. Don't just say it in your mind. Say these words out loud. The Bible says, believe with your heart and confess with your mouth. So believe these words that we're about to speak. Believe them in your heart, but say these words out loud with me. Say this. Father in heaven, I thank you for loving me so much that you sent Jesus to be the sacrifice for my sin. Jesus, I thank you for loving me so much that you were willing to suffer and die in my place. You suffered so that I wouldn't have to. You died so that I could live eternally. You took my sin upon yourself and died with it. On the third day, you rose again, but my sin did not. By faith, I receive the price you paid for me, and I thank you for it. I am a Christian. I am born again. I am in right standing with you, God, and I will live for you as you show me how. Thank you for saving me. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Now, if you said this prayer for the very first time in your life, let me be the first person to welcome you to the family. You are in for a great ride. Now, I would love for you to reach out and contact us. Let us know about the decision that you've just made and the prayer that you just prayed with us. I'm not trying to get you to join anything. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm not trying to add you to a mailing list. We just want to help you get started with your walk with God. I love being a Christian. I love the life that I live, and I know that you're going to love it too.